The stars looked different from Orbita 9. Lieutenant Maya Cortez had grown accustomed to Earth's familiar constellations. But here on the edge of Saturn's moon Titan, the universe revealed itself in strange new patterns. The viewport of her quarters framed a sliver of the ringed planet. Its pale gold surface, a constant reminder of how far she'd come. "First day jitters?" The voice startled her from behind. Maya turned to find Captain Ronaldo leaning against her doorframe. His weathered face a map of years spent traversing the void between worlds. Despite the formal blue uniform of the Earth Alliance, he maintained the relaxed posture of someone who'd seen enough to know when protocol mattered and when it didn't. "No, sir. Just acclimating." Maya straightened her own uniform. The emblem of Earth's first diplomatic contingent to the Galactic Alliance, still shiny and new on her shoulder. "Good, because acclimation time just got cut short." Ronaldo handed her a datapad. "We've been reassigned. The Zytra have broken through defensive lines at Eridani 7th. They're requesting Earth support." Maya scanned the orders, her stomach tightening. "Combat deployment? Sir, we're liaison officers, not front line." The Galactic Council specifically requested human assistance. Ronaldo's expression hardened. "They've lost 3 battalions already. Something about the Zytra weaponry. It's not conventional. Affects the mind somehow." Maya had read the briefings on the Zytra, a mysterious species that had emerged from the far reaches of the galaxy 5 years ago. Supposedly, they wielded some form of energy that Earth scientists still couldn't properly classify. Part radiation, part psychic assault. "When do we leave?" 2 hours. Briefing in 30 minutes. Ronaldo turned to leave but paused. "Cortez, I know this isn't what you signed up for, but Earth needs to prove its worth to the Alliance. We can't be seen as the fragile newcomers." After he left, Maya stared back out at the stars. Humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel only 15 years ago. First contact with the Galactic Alliance came 5 years later, just in time to become embroiled in their war against the Zytra. Now, Earth was the newest, most junior member of an interstellar coalition spanning 27 species. And Maya Cortez, age 29, was about to become one of the first humans to engage in interstellar combat. The transit to Eridani VII took 3 days in the Alliance cruiser. Maya spent most of it studying Zytra combat footage, trying to understand what they were facing. The images disturbed her. Alliance soldiers, beings of various species, simply stopping mid-battle, their weapons dropping as purple energy washed over them. Some collapsed. Others walked willingly toward Zytra positions, never to return. "Mind control?" she asked Dr. Lee, the contingent's biologist, as they reviewed footage together in the ship's laboratory. The scientist shook her head, her eyes never leaving the screen. "Not exactly. From what little data we have, it's more like their energy disrupts neural pathways, makes it impossible to form coherent thoughts or maintain motor control." "And we're supposed to fight this? How?" Dr. Lee finally looked up, her expression unusually animated for the normally reserved scientist. "That's why we're here. Preliminary studies suggest human neurophysiology might be resistant." "Might be?" Maya raised an eyebrow. "The Alliance has been watching us for years before official contact. Lieutenant, they've observed our combat responses. Something about our neurochemistry during stress situations interests them." Before Maya could press further, the ship's alarm sounded. They had arrived at Eridani 7th. The planet loomed beneath them, a dusty orange sphere with swirling acid clouds obscuring most of its surface. Alliance forces held a tenuous perimeter around a mining installation near the equator, the last foothold against advancing Zytra forces. Maya joined Captain Ronaldo and 20 other Earth personnel in the deployment bay. Most were soldiers like her, but there were also 5 scientists, including Dr. Lee, equipped with monitoring devices and sample kits. "Listen up," Ronaldo, shouted over the whine of the descending shuttle. "We're not heroes today. We're a test case. The Alliance wants to see how humans perform against Zytra energy weapons. Stay in formation. Follow Alliance command. And for God's sake, report everything you feel. If you get hit, describe it before you pass out." A few nervous laughs rippled through the group. "I'm serious," Ronaldo continued. "The scientists need data. That's our primary mission." The shuttle ride down was turbulent, the acid atmosphere battering the craft's shields. Maya checked her environmental suit one last time. Eridani 7 wasn't just hostile because of the Zytra. Its atmosphere would dissolve human tissue in seconds. They landed at Forward Operating Base Helios, a collection of prefabricated structures surrounded by energy barriers. Alliance soldiers of various species moved with urgent purpose, many bearing visible injuries. The commanding officer, a tall insectoid being called Commander Vrex, met them at the landing pad. "Captain Ronaldo," Vrex clicked in accented English. "Your arrival is timely. We expect another Zytra push within 12 hours. "My team is ready, Commander," Ronaldo replied. "Where do you want us?" "Sector 4, Eastern Perimeter. It's where we've lost the most ground." Vrex's compound eyes studied the Earth contingent. "Are your people prepared for psychic warfare?" "We'll find out," Ronaldo said grimly. Maya was assigned to a mixed-species squadron, led by a veteran Alliance officer named Kral, a stocky humanoid with mottled green skin. Also in her unit was Lieutenant Hana Yoshida, another Earth officer with a specialization in communications. "Stick close to me," Kral told them during the briefing. "The Zytra don't fight like anything you've seen. They don't charge positions or establish firing lines. They just appear, and then the purple light comes." "What does it feel like?" Hana asked, voicing the question Maya was thinking. Kral's face darkened. "Like your thoughts are being pulled apart. Like you can't remember who you are or why you're fighting. Most species drop unconscious within seconds. The strongest last maybe a minute." "And then?" Maya pressed. "And then, you either wake up in medical or you don't wake up at all." They moved to their assigned positions as Eridani's weak sun began to set. The perimeter defenses were impressive, a combination of energy shields, automated turrets, and reinforced bunkers. Maya took her place in a forward observation post with Hana and 2 Alliance soldiers, a reptilian Draxian named Torvo, and a humanoid Nelvari called Senna. "They'll come from the ridge," Torvo said, pointing to a rocky outcropping about half a kilometer away. "They always do." "How do you know?" Maya asked. "Because I've survived 3 attacks," he replied flatly. Not many can say that. The weight was excruciating. Maya checked her weapon, a standard-issue Alliance pulse rifle, and monitored her suit's environmental readings. The scientists had also equipped each human with biometric sensors to track their physiological responses during combat. Midnight came and went. Maya was beginning to think the Zytra wouldn't attack when Senna suddenly stiffened. "They're here," she whispered. At first, Maya saw nothing. Then, movement on the ridge. Figures emerged from the shadows, tall, slender beings with elongated limbs and featureless faces. They moved with unnatural grace, almost floating across the rocky terrain. "Why aren't they taking cover?" Hana muttered beside her. "They don't need to," Torvo replied, raising his weapon. "Get ready." The automated defenses activated first, sending brilliant streaks of energy toward the advancing Zytra. Several fell, but the others continued forward, undeterred. When they reached about 300 meters from the perimeter, they stopped in perfect unison. "Here it comes," Senna warned, her voice tight with fear. "Brace yourselves." The air seemed to ripple, and then a wave of purple energy surged from the Zytra line. It rolled across the barren ground like a tsunami, washing over the defensive perimeter. Maya felt it hit, a pressure inside her skull, a momentary disorientation. Beside her, Torvo and Senna collapsed instantly, their weapons clattering to the ground. Hana staggered but remained upright, clutching her head. "Maya," she gasped. "What's happening?" Maya tried to focus. The pressure was intense but not debilitating. She could still think, still move. Her heart was racing, pounding against her ribs like it might explode. A strange heat flooded her veins. "We need to fight back," she said, surprised by the clarity of her thoughts, despite the purple haze surrounding them. She raised her rifle and fired at the nearest Zetra. The being jerked as the energy pulse struck it, toppling backward. Maya fired again, taking down another. Beside her, Hana had regained her composure and was also returning fire. All across the perimeter, humans were the only ones still fighting while Alliance soldiers lay incapacitated. The Zytra, seemingly surprised by the resistance, intensified their psychic assault. The purple energy thickened until the air itself seemed to glow. Maya felt something change inside her. The pressure in her head increased, but so did a strange sense of focus. Time seemed to slow. She could see the subtle movements of the Zytra with perfect clarity, anticipate their actions before they happened. Her body moved with newfound speed and precision, each shot finding its mark. "Lieutenant Cortez," Dr. Lee's voice crackled over her comm. "Your biometrics are off the charts. What are you experiencing?" Maya could barely spare the attention to reply. "Everything's accelerated. I can see them moving before they move." "It's adrenaline," Dr. Lee said, excitement evident in her voice. "Your body is producing it in response to the Zytra energy." "What's adrenaline?" Maya asked, ducking behind cover as return fire from the Zytra scattered the earth around her position. "A compound we've only theorized about until now. A natural combat enhancement your body is synthesizing. Keep fighting, but be careful. We don't know the side effects." The battle raged for another 20 minutes. The Zytra, faced with unexpected resistance, eventually retreated back beyond the ridge. As the purple energy dissipated, Alliance soldiers began to regain consciousness. Maya felt the strange sensation gradually fade. In its place came exhaustion so profound she could barely stand. Hana looked equally drained, her face pale and drawn despite their victory. "What happened?" Torvo asked, as he struggled to his feet. "How are you still conscious?" Maya didn't have a simple answer. In the aftermath, the human contingent was rushed to the medical facility for examination. Dr. Lee moved from bed to bed, collecting blood samples and scanning brainwaves with evident excitement. "Extraordinary," she kept saying. "Simply extraordinary." Captain Ronaldo gathered with the Alliance commanders to review the battle footage. Maya could see the astonishment on their alien faces as they watched humans resist the Zytra's psychic attack. "Lieutenant Cortez," Dr. Lee said, approaching her bed with a tablet. "Your readings were the most dramatic. Look at this." The screen showed a chemical analysis, meaningless to Maya's untrained eye. "This compound, adrenaline, it's similar to adrenaline but far more complex. It appears to accelerate neural processes while simultaneously creating a sort of buffer against external influence. In essence, your body produced its own combat drug in response to the threat. Is that why I could move faster, see better?" "Precisely. Your reaction time improved by 380%. Your muscle efficiency increased by over 200%. But there's more." Dr. Lee lowered her voice. "The compound seems to have altered your perception of time and enhanced your threat assessment capabilities. You weren't just fighting better. You were predicting the enemy's movements." Maya recalled the strange clarity she had experienced. "What about the side effects you mentioned?" Dr. Lee's expression grew serious. "That's what concerns me. The metabolic cost is enormous. Your body temperature reached dangerous levels. Several stress hormones were off the charts, and there's evidence of microtears in muscle tissue. If the battle had continued much longer..." She didn't need to finish the sentence. Maya understood the implication. The human body wasn't designed to sustain such heightened states for extended periods. "Will it happen again if we face another attack?" Almost certainly. And now that we know what to look for, we can monitor it more effectively. Dr. Lee hesitated. The Alliance Command is very interested in this development. Of course they were, Maya thought. Humanity had just revealed a biological advantage in interstellar warfare, one that might turn the tide against the Zytra. Over the next week, the Earth contingent underwent intensive training and testing. Under controlled conditions, they attempted to trigger the adrenoresine response. Maya volunteered for the most extensive trials, determined to understand and master this new capability. In a reinforced chamber deep within the base, Dr. Lee created simulations of Zytra attacks using recorded energy signatures. Maya stood in the center, wired with monitoring equipment. Remember, Dr. Lee instructed from behind a protective barrier. We're trying to induce a controlled response. Focus on the threat, but maintain awareness of your body's reactions. The purple energy filled the chamber, a diluted version of what they had faced in battle. Maya felt the now familiar pressure in her skull, the disorientation. She fought against it, concentrating on the sensation of danger. Slowly, the heat began to build in her veins. Her heart rate accelerated. Her vision sharpened. The adrenoresine was flowing, but without the intensity of actual combat. Good. Dr. Lee's voice seemed distant, despite the comm unit in Maya's ear. Now, try to control it. Direct the response. Maya focused, imagining herself channeling the energy surging through her body. She moved through a series of combat stances, each motion fluid and precise. She could feel her speed increasing, her strength building. But then, something changed. The clarity began to dissolve into something else, a rising tide of emotion, raw and unfiltered. Fear, rage, an overwhelming instinct to destroy the threat at any cost. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Her breathing became ragged. Lieutenant Cortez, Dr. Lee's voice cut through the haze. Your emotional response is spiking. Try to regulate. Maya couldn't hear her anymore. The room seemed to pulse with purple light, though she knew intellectually it was just the simulation. Suddenly, all she could think about was eliminating the threat. She launched herself at the emitter, projecting the energy signature, tearing it from its mount with strength she shouldn't have possessed. Alarms blared. The chamber flooded with a neutralizing agent, a cold mist that shocked Maya back to awareness. She found herself on her knees, the destroyed emitter in her hands, metal components crushed and distorted by her grip. The door slid open, and medical personnel rushed in. Dr. Lee approached cautiously. What happened? Maya asked, her voice hoarse. Emotional override, Dr. Lee explained, helping her to her feet. The adrenoresine doesn't just enhance physical capabilities. It intensifies emotional responses, particularly fear and aggression. The rational mind gets submerged. Maya stared at the mangled equipment in her hands. I could have hurt someone. That's why we're doing these tests, Dr. Lee said gently, to understand the limits and risks. But as Maya was led back to medical for examination, a troubling thought formed. What if the line between enhanced soldier and mindless berserker was thinner than anyone realized? The test continued, but with more safeguards. Maya worked with Dr. Lee to develop techniques for maintaining control during adrenoresine surges. Meditation, focused breathing, mental anchoring, anything that might help preserve rational thought when the combat drug flooded her system. Lieutenant Hana Yoshida became her training partner, one of the few who seemed to understand what Maya was experiencing. It's like being two people at once, Hana said during one of their rest periods. They sat in the base's recreation area, exhausted after hours of training. The soldier who knows what needs to be done, and the animal that just wants to survive. Maya nodded. How do you keep the balance? Hana considered this, twisting her water bottle in her hands. I focus on something specific, something important to me, A face, a memory, something human that the animal part can't touch. It was good advice. Maya began to concentrate on memories of Earth, the sunset over Mexico City, where she'd grown up, the smell of her mother's kitchen, the sound of rain on the roof of her first apartment. Human things, grounding things. But while the Earth contingent trained, politics were shifting. Alliance Command, impressed by the humans' resistance to Zetra attacks, began to see Earth not just as a junior partner, but as a potential weapon. Captain Ronaldo called Maya to a high-level meeting 2 weeks after their arrival. Commander Vrex was there, along with several other Alliance officials Maya didn't recognize. One, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, was introduced as Counselor Thelen from the Galactic Alliance Strategic Command. Lieutenant Cortez, Thelen began, her voice melodious but cold. Your performance against the Zetra has been noteworthy. Thank you, Counselor. Dr. Lee tells us you've made progress in controlling the adrenaline response. Maya glanced at Dr. Lee, who stood uncomfortably at the side of the room. Some progress. Yes. It's still unpredictable. Nevertheless, the Strategic Command believes this capability could be decisive in the war effort. Thelen moved to a holographic display, showing battle lines across several star systems. The Zetra have pushed us back on multiple fronts. Their psychic weapons give them an insurmountable advantage against most Alliance species. Until now, Commander Vrex added, we're proposing an expanded role for Earth forces. Thelen continued. Specifically, we want to deploy human strike teams directly into Zetra-controlled territories. Captain Ronaldo frowned. My people aren't ready for deep penetration missions. We've barely begun to understand the adrenaline response. Which is why we've developed this, Thelen gestured, and an aide presented a case containing vials of purple liquid. Synthetic adrenaline, based on samples from your soldiers. Maya felt a chill. You want to use us as test subjects for a combat drug? Not at all, Lieutenant, Thelen said smoothly. We want to enhance what your bodies already naturally produce. Think of it as an amplifier. With all due respect, Counselor, Dr. Lee interjected. We don't fully understand the long-term effects of natural adrenaline production, let alone a synthetic version. The psychological risks alone. Dr. Lee, Thelen cut her off. This is a military matter now. The Science Division has provided its input, but the decision rests with Strategic Command. Maya looked to Captain Ronaldo, whose face had hardened into a mask. He gave her a barely perceptible nod, permission to speak freely. Counselor, Maya said carefully, if I may. The adrenaline response isn't just a physical enhancement. It fundamentally alters consciousness. In our training, we've seen subjects lose control, become something else. If you amplify that effect without proper safeguards, you won't have soldiers. You'll have weapons that can't distinguish friend from foe. The room fell silent. Thelen studied Maya with an expression that might have been curiosity or contempt. It was hard to read alien faces. Your concerns are noted, Lieutenant, she finally said. But the reality is that we are losing this war. The Zetra advance daily. They show no interest in negotiation or mercy. If human biology offers an advantage, we would be remiss not to exploit it. After the meeting, Captain Ronaldo pulled Maya aside. You spoke well in there, he said quietly. But it won't make a difference. The Alliance is desperate. So they're willing to turn us into monsters? Ronaldo sighed. To them, we're already anomalies. A species that produces combat drugs naturally? That's not normal. Cortez. Most civilized species evolved past their aggressive instincts long before achieving space travel. Maya hadn't considered this perspective before. You're saying they see us as primitive? Useful primitives. Why do you think Earth was admitted to the Alliance so quickly after contact? They weren't impressed by our culture or technology. They saw our potential as warriors. The realization sat heavily with Maya. Humanity's first major contribution to galactic civilization would be its capacity for violence. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her quarters felt confining, the recycled air stale in her lungs. She made her way to the observation deck, hoping the sight of stars might calm her mind. She found Lieutenant Hana already there, staring out at Eridani's dusty moons. "Couldn't sleep either?" Maya asked, joining her at the viewport. Hana shook her head. "I heard about the meeting. Synthetic adrenarazine. News travels fast. People talk, especially when they're scared." Hana turned to face her. "Are you going to take it? If they order us to." Maya hadn't decided yet. "Would you?" "I don't know." Hana's gaze returned to the stars. "I joined Earth's diplomatic corps to build bridges, not to become a biological weapon. But if it means saving lives..." "That's how they'll sell it," Maya said bitterly. "The greater good. The necessary sacrifice." "Isn't that always how it goes?" Hana's voice held no judgment, just a quiet resignation. "First contact with alien life, and we immediately find ourselves in their war." They stood in silence for a while, watching the slow dance of Eridani's moons against the backdrop of unfamiliar constellations. "There's something else bothering me," Maya finally said. "Dr. Lee mentioned that the Alliance had been observing Earth for years before official contact, studying our combat responses. You think they knew about adrenarazine all along?" "I think they suspected. Why else recruit a species with barely functional FTL technology into an interstellar alliance? We had nothing else to offer them." Hana considered this. "So we were invited to the table because they thought we might be useful in their war." "Exactly. Does it matter?" Hana asked. "We're here now. The Zytra are a threat to all sentient life, including Earth. If we have an advantage against them..." "It matters how we use it," Maya insisted. "If we let the Alliance turn us into mindless berserkers, we lose what makes us human in the first place." Their conversation was interrupted by alarms blaring throughout the base. Maya's comm unit activated automatically. "All personnel to battle stations," Commander Vrex's voice announced. "Zytra forces approaching from multiple vectors. This is not a drill." Maya and Hana exchanged a grim look before sprinting toward the armory. By the time they reached their assigned positions, the situation had already deteriorated. The Zytra had somehow bypassed the outer sensor grid, emerging much closer to the base than previous attacks. "They're adapting," Kral explained, as they joined him in a reinforced bunker overlooking the northern approach. "Learning our defenses." Maya checked her weapon, trying to ignore the flutter of anxiety in her chest. Would the adrenarazine response be stronger this time, now that she knew what to expect? Or would the Zytra have developed countermeasures? She didn't have long to wonder. The familiar purple wave rolled toward them, more intense than before. When it hit, Maya felt the pressure in her skull double, then triple. Beside her, Kral dropped immediately, his body convulsing. Hana staggered but managed to remain conscious, gripping her rifle with white knuckles. Maya fought through the disorientation, waiting for the adrenarazine to kick in. It came in a rush, heat flooding her veins, her vision sharpening until she could count the individual Zytra advancing through the purple haze. Time seemed to stretch, each moment extending into minutes. She raised her rifle and began firing with methodical precision, each shot finding its mark. Hana followed her lead, though her movements were less fluid, her aim less certain. "Stay focused," Maya called to her. "Find your anchor." Hana nodded, her expression hardening with determination. The battle was more intense than their first encounter. The Zytra pressed forward despite heavy losses, their featureless faces betraying no emotion as they fell. Maya found herself moving with inhuman speed, reloading her weapon and shifting position in the blink of an eye. But as the fight wore on, she felt something changing. The clarity was giving way to a rising tide of emotion, rage, fear, a primal desire to destroy. Her shots became less precise, more frenzied. The world took on a red tinge, as if her vision were being filtered through blood. "Maya!" Hana's voice seemed to come from far away. "You're losing control!" Maya tried to focus on her anchor, the memory of Earth, of home. But it was slipping away, replaced by a singular imperative: kill or be killed. A Zytra soldier broke through the defensive line, heading directly for their position. Maya didn't think, didn't plan. She simply reacted. Dropping her rifle, she launched herself at the alien with a feral scream. They collided with bone-crushing force, tumbling to the ground. The Zytra was strong, its elongated limbs wrapping around Maya like steel cables. Purple energy crackled between them. But Maya felt nothing except the burning flow of adrenaline. With strength she shouldn't have possessed. She broke the alien's grip and struck with savage precision, her fists pounding against its featureless face until it stopped moving. She rose, covered in iridescent blue fluid, Zytra blood, and turned to find Hana staring at her in horror. "Maya," she whispered, "your eyes." Before Maya could respond, another wave of Zytra energy washed over the battlefield, stronger than before. This time, even Hana collapsed, leaving Maya as the only conscious defender in their sector. The adrenaline surged in response, pushing her body beyond all normal limits. She moved through the battlefield like a force of nature, engaging Zytra soldiers with brutal efficiency. At some point, she lost her helmet, exposing herself to Eridani's toxic atmosphere. But the adrenaline seemed to be protecting her, accelerating her body's ability to filter the poisonous air. By the time Alliance reinforcements arrived, Maya had single-handedly eliminated an entire Zytra assault team. They found her standing amid the carnage, breathing the unfiltered atmosphere, her eyes glowing with an unnatural light. It took 3 medical officers to sedate her. Maya woke in the medical bay 3 days later, her body aching as if she'd been trampled by a herd of elephants. Dr. Lee was at her bedside, monitoring her vital signs with a troubled expression. "Welcome back, Lieutenant," she said, when she noticed Maya was awake. "You gave us quite a scare." Maya tried to speak but found her throat raw and painful. Dr. Lee offered her water, helping her sit up to drink. "What happened?" Maya finally managed to ask. "You experienced an extreme adrenaline surge," Dr. Lee explained. "Far beyond anything we've recorded previously. Your body temperature reached 104 degrees. Your heart was beating at 210 beats per minute for over 20 minutes. By all medical logic, you should have suffered cardiac arrest." Maya remembered fragments: the battle, the rage, the inexplicable strength. Did I hurt anyone? Anyone on our side?" "No," Dr. Lee assured her. "Your targeting discrimination remained intact, remarkably. But Maya..." She hesitated. "You were breathing Eridani's atmosphere for almost 10 minutes. The acid content alone should have dissolved your lung tissue." "How is that possible?" "The adrenaline appears to have temporarily altered your physiology. Enhanced cellular regeneration, improved oxygen efficiency. Your body was repairing damage as quickly as it occurred." Dr. Lee's voice dropped. "The Alliance scientists are calling it adaptive combat evolution." Maya closed her eyes, processing this information. "And the Zytra, the attack?" "Repelled. Largely thanks to you. Commander Vrex has already recommended you for the Alliance Combat Cross." There was a distinct lack of enthusiasm in Dr. Lee's voice. "You don't approve." "I'm concerned," Dr. Lee corrected. "What your body did was remarkable but extremely dangerous. The metabolic cost was enormous. And the psychological effects..." She trailed off. "Tell me," Maya insisted. Dr. Lee sighed. "Your brain scans during the event showed activity patterns consistent with temporary psychosis. Extreme aggression, diminished impulse control, hypervigilance. In essence, the adrenaline pushed you into a berserker state." Maya recalled the red haze that had descended over her vision, the singular focus on destruction. But I didn't hurt our people. This time, Dr. Lee said grimly. But each exposure seems to produce a stronger response. If this continues... The door slid open, interrupting their conversation. Captain Ronaldo entered, followed by Counselor Thelen and 2 Alliance security officers. Dr. Lee, Thelen said without preamble, we require privacy with Lieutenant Cortez. Dr. Lee looked ready to object, but seemed to think better of it. She gave Maya's hand a quick, reassuring squeeze before departing. When they were alone, Thelen approached Maya's bed, studying her with that same unreadable alien expression. Lieutenant Cortez, she began, your performance has exceeded all expectations. The data we've collected from your encounter will be invaluable to the war effort. Glad to be of service, Maya replied, unable to keep the sarcasm from her voice. If Thelen noticed, she gave no indication. The Strategic Command has accelerated production of synthetic adrenoresine based on your biological samples. Preliminary tests on human volunteers show promising results. Maya glanced at Captain Ronaldo, whose face remained carefully neutral. Volunteers or test subjects? Soldiers who understand what's at stake, Thelen replied smoothly. As I believe you do, Lieutenant. And what exactly is at stake, Counselor? The survival of civilization as we know it. Thelen activated a holographic display showing star systems across the galaxy. Red zones, Zytra-controlled territories, had expanded dramatically since Maya had last seen such a map. They've taken 3 more systems in the past week alone. At this rate, they'll reach Earth's sector within 6 months. The implication was clear. Earth's fate was tied to the Alliance's success against the Zytra. We're preparing a special operation, Thelen continued. A strike at the heart of Zytra territory, targeting what we believe to be their command center on Eridani 7, and we want you to lead it. Maya stared at her, stunned. Me? I'm just a lieutenant, not a... Your rank is irrelevant, Thelen cut in. Your capability is what matters. You've demonstrated a natural affinity for adrenoresine control that our other human subjects haven't matched. What would this operation entail? Thelen exchanged a glance with Captain Ronaldo, who finally spoke. A small team, infiltration behind enemy lines. High risk, but potentially decisive. He hesitated. The team would be equipped with synthetic adrenoresine enhancers. Maya felt cold, despite the warmth of the medical bay. The drug you haven't fully tested, the one that might turn us into uncontrollable berserkers. We've refined the formula, Thelen said. Added stabilizers to maintain cognitive function. Have you tested these stabilizers? A brief silence. The operation begins in 48 hours, Thelen said, ignoring the question. You'll be briefed on the details once you've recovered. She turned to leave, then paused. Lieutenant Cortez, I understand your reservations, but consider this. If we fail to stop the Zytra here, Earth will face them alone. How long do you think your planet would last? After they left, Maya lay back in her bed, staring at the ceiling. The threat to Earth was real. She had no doubt about that. But something about this entire situation felt wrong. The convenient discovery of adrenoresine, just when the Alliance needed it most. The rushed development of a synthetic version. The way they were pushing her and other humans into combat roles despite minimal training. It was almost as if they were being used as weapons, rather than allies. When Dr. Lee returned an hour later, Maya was sitting up, reviewing battle footage on a datapad. They're sending you back out there, aren't they? Dr. Lee asked, checking Maya's vital signs. Special operation, behind enemy lines. Maya set down the datapad. With synthetic adrenoresine. Dr. Lee's expression darkened. It's too soon. We don't understand enough about the natural response, let alone an artificial version. I don't think understanding is their priority, Maya said. They need weapons, not soldiers. Then refuse? And let Earth face the Zytra alone? Maya shook her head. We both know how that would end. Dr. Lee sat on the edge of the bed. Maya, listen to me. I've been analyzing the Zytra energy patterns. There's something unusual about how it interacts with human neurophysiology. Besides triggering adrenaline? Yes. The energy doesn't just trigger it. It resonates with it. Almost as if... Dr. Lee lowered her voice to barely above a whisper. Almost as if the two were designed to interact. Maya frowned. What are you saying? I'm saying that perhaps the Zytra and humans aren't as alien to each other as we think. Dr. Lee glanced toward the door, ensuring they were still alone. The Alliance has been suspiciously eager to pit humans against the Zytra from the beginning. What if they knew something we didn't? Before Maya could process this disturbing suggestion, her datapad chimed with a message. Lieutenant Hana Yoshida was requesting to see her. Dr. Lee stood. Think about what I've said, and be careful who you trust. Hana arrived shortly after Dr. Lee left. She looked different, harder somehow, with new scars along her jawline and a haunted look in her eyes. You're alive, she said simply, standing at the foot of Maya's bed. Apparently, Maya replied. Though I don't remember much after you fell unconscious. Hana's expression tightened. I saw the footage. We all did. You were something else out there. Something else, Maya repeated. Not human, you mean? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Maya studied her fellow officer. Have they approached you about the special operation? Hana nodded. Captain Ronaldo is assembling a team. 6 humans, including us. 2 Alliance Special Forces as guides. And the synthetic adrenaline? Optional, they say. Recommended for maximum combat effectiveness. Hana's tone made it clear what she thought of that recommendation. Are you going to take it? Hana was silent for a long moment. I don't know. Part of me says it's too dangerous, that we're playing with fire. But another part, she met Maya's gaze. Another part remembers what it felt like. The power, the clarity, like being more than human. Maya understood that feeling all too well. The adrenaline didn't just enhance physical capabilities. It created a kind of euphoria, a sense of transcendence that was almost addictive. Dr. Lee thinks there's more to this than we're being told, Maya said carefully. About the Zytra, about adrenaline, about why the Alliance was so eager to recruit Earth. What kind of more? She thinks the Zytra energy and adrenaline might be connected somehow, designed to interact. Hana frowned. That's impossible. We've never encountered the Zytra before joining the Alliance. As far as we know, Maya pointed out. But what if we have? What if Earth has a history with the Zytra that predates our recorded history? It was a wild theory, but it would explain so much. Why human physiology reacted differently to Zytra energy. Why the Alliance had been observing Earth long before official contact. If that's true, Hana said slowly, then whose side are we really on? The question hung between them, unanswerable with their limited information. I guess we'll find out, Maya finally said. On Eridani 7. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Maya was released from medical and immediately thrust into mission briefings. The plan was audacious. A small team would infiltrate the Zytra command center, believed to be located in a massive structure deep within the acidic wastelands of Eridani 7's southern continent. Intelligence suggested the facility housed the source of the Zytra's psychic energy, a device or entity referred to only as the Nexus. Their objective was to neutralize this Nexus by any means necessary. Captain Ronaldo would lead the mission, with Maya as his second-in-command. Lieutenant Hana Yoshida would handle communications. 3 other human soldiers, Sergeant Rodriguez, Corporal Chen, and Private Nkosi, rounded out the Earth contingent. 2 Alliance operatives, a Nelvari named Vesh and a Draxian called Mord, would serve as guides. At the final briefing, Commander Vrex presented them with the synthetic adrenarazine. This formula has been calibrated based on Lieutenant Cortez's natural response, he explained. It should enhance combat capabilities while maintaining cognitive function. Should? Sergeant Rodriguez questioned. There are always variables in field conditions, Vrex replied smoothly. But laboratory tests have been promising. Maya noticed he didn't specify what kind of laboratory tests, or on whom they had been conducted. Use of the enhancer is optional, Captain Ronaldo added firmly. Each soldier will make their own decision. Maya caught Ronaldo's eye across the briefing room. His expression conveyed what he couldn't say aloud. Be careful. The mission was scheduled to launch at dawn. That night, Maya found herself once again on the observation deck, seeking solace in the stars. To her surprise, Captain Ronaldo was already there. Couldn't sleep, Lieutenant, he asked as she joined him at the viewport. Too much on my mind, sir. Ronaldo nodded. The first drop behind enemy lines is always the hardest. After that, training takes over. It's not the mission I'm worried about, Maya admitted. It's what happens if we succeed. Explain. If we prove that humans with adrenarazine can defeat the Zytra, what then? Does Earth become the Alliance's dedicated shock troops? Do we transform our species into biological weapons to fight their wars? Ronaldo was silent for a long moment, his weathered face reflecting the starlight. I've been asking myself the same question since we arrived. Why Earth? Why now? The Alliance has been fighting the Zytra for years without us. Dr. Lee has a theory, Maya said, and shared what the scientist had told her about the possible connection between humans and the Zytra. When she finished, Ronaldo's expression was grave. If she's right, we're being manipulated, used as pawns in a conflict we don't understand. So what do? We complete the mission, Ronaldo said firmly. But we keep our eyes open. Whatever the truth is, we'll find it at the Zytra Command Center. Maya nodded, somewhat reassured by her captain's resolve. And the synthetic adrenarazine? That's your decision, Lieutenant. But remember, we're soldiers first. Whatever advantage the drug offers isn't worth losing your humanity. Dawn came too quickly. The team assembled in the deployment bay, checking equipment and running final systems checks on their environmental suits. The specialized infiltration craft waited on the pad, a sleek, stealth-equipped vessel designed to penetrate Zytra detection grids. Dr. Lee appeared just before departure, carrying a medical kit. Last-minute additions, she explained to Commander Vrex, who was overseeing the launch. Neutralizing agents, in case the adrenarazine response becomes problematic. Vrex seemed skeptical, but allowed her to distribute the injectors to each team member. When she reached Maya, she pressed something else into her hand, a small data chip. If you reach the Nexus, she whispered, use this. It contains a translation algorithm I've been developing. If the Zytra can communicate, this might help. Maya pocketed the chip without comment, but the implication was clear. Dr. Lee believed there was more to the Zytra than mindless aggression. As the team boarded the craft, Maya noticed Hana hesitate at the entrance to the deployment bay. Turning, she saw Lieutenant Hana staring at the vial of synthetic adrenarazine in her hand. Having second thoughts? Maya asked. Hana looked up, her expression troubled. What if we can't control it? What if we become the monsters we're fighting? Then we use these. Maya tapped the neutralizing injector Dr. Lee had provided. We watch each other's backs. That's what soldiers do. Hana nodded, determination replacing doubt in her eyes. For Earth? For humanity, Maya corrected. Whatever that means out here. The infiltration craft slipped silently through Eridani's acid clouds. Sensors dimmed to avoid detection. Captain Ronaldo piloted with the steady hands of a veteran, navigating the treacherous atmospheric conditions with minimal course corrections. In the passenger compartment, Maya studied the mission briefing one last time. The Zytra Command Center was built into a massive rock formation, partially underground, Approaching on foot would be impossible due to the harsh environment. So they would need to breach directly through a maintenance access point, identified by Alliance intelligence. Once inside, they would face unknown defenses and an uncertain layout. The intelligence was sketchy at best. Their target, the Nexus, was believed to be at the center of the facility, protected by multiple security layers. 5 minutes to drop zone, Ronaldo announced over the comm. Final systems check. Maya verified her suit integrity, weapons, and the specialized breaching equipment each team member carried. The vial of synthetic adrenaline sat in a protected compartment of her suit, untouched. She had decided to rely on her natural response unless absolutely necessary. The craft descended rapidly, breaking through the cloud cover to reveal a hellish landscape below. Jagged rock formations jutted from bubbling pools of corrosive liquid. The air was thick with toxic vapor, visible even through their reinforced viewports. There, Vesh, the Nelvari operative, pointed to a dark structure, barely distinguishable from the surrounding terrain. The command center. Ronaldo guided the craft toward a narrow ledge that offered cover from observation. Touchdown in 30 seconds. Prepare for immediate deployment. The moment the craft settled, the team moved with practiced efficiency. Each member knew their role. Mord and Vesh would lead, followed by Maya and Hana, with Rodriguez, Corporal Chen, and Nkosi providing rear security. Captain Ronaldo would coordinate from the craft, maintaining their exfiltration option. Remember, Ronaldo said as they prepared to disembark, primary objective is the Nexus. Secondary is intelligence gathering. If you encounter overwhelming resistance, fall back to extraction point Alpha. Maya nodded, securing her helmet and activating her suit's environmental systems. The acidic atmosphere of Eridani 7th would dissolve exposed flesh in seconds. Move out, Vesh ordered, and the team emerged onto the hostile surface of the alien world. They traversed the short distance to the command center in tense silence, every sense alert for Zytra defenses. Surprisingly, they encountered none. No guards, no automated systems, nothing to suggest the facility was protected at all. This feels wrong, Hana murmured over the secure comm channel. Where are the defenses? Maybe they don't expect anyone to survive the approach, Nkosi suggested, eyeing the bubbling acid pools surrounding their narrow path. Or maybe it's a trap, Maya countered. Stay sharp. They reached the maintenance access point, a sealed portal built into the rock face. Vesh attached a decryption device to the control panel, while Mord stood guard, his reptilian eyes scanning the barren landscape. Strange design, Vesh commented as he worked. Almost familiar. The portal slid open with unexpected ease, revealing a dark corridor beyond. The team activated their tactical lights and moved inside, weapons ready. The interior of the Zytra facility was unlike anything Maya had expected. Instead of the alien architecture she had anticipated, the corridors were almost human in their proportions. The walls pulsed with a faint purple glow that seemed to emanate from within the material itself. This technology, Hana whispered, it's not like anything in the Alliance database. Focus on the mission, Maya reminded her. We need to find the central chamber. They moved deeper into the facility, following Vesh's directions based on the limited intelligence they had. The absence of Zytra defenders grew more unsettling with each empty corridor they passed. Where is everyone? Rodriguez voiced what they were all thinking. As if in answer, a wave of purple energy suddenly washed through the corridor. Maya felt the familiar pressure in her skull, the disorientation that preceded an adrenaline surge. Beside her, Hana staggered, while Vesh and Mord collapsed immediately. Ambush! Nkosi shouted, raising his weapon. But there was no one to shoot at. The purple energy pulsed again, stronger this time. Maya fought against the disorientation, feeling the heat of adrenaline beginning to build in her veins. Her vision sharpened, time slowed. The combat drug was flowing naturally, responding to the threat. Stay together, she ordered, her voice sounding distant to her own ears. Vesh, Mord, can you hear me? The Alliance operatives were unconscious, their alien physiology unable to resist the psychic assault. Rodriguez and Nkosi remained on their feet, but were clearly struggling. Only Hana seemed relatively stable, her own adrenaline response kicking in. "We need to keep moving," Hana said, helping Maya drag the unconscious aliens into a defensive position. "The longer we stay here, the stronger that energy gets." Maya nodded, fighting to maintain clarity as the adrenaline surged through her system. "Corporal Chen, Rodriguez, use the synthetic if you need to. We can't afford to lose anyone else." The soldiers hesitated only briefly before injecting the combat enhancer. The effect was immediate and dramatic, their postures straightening, eyes sharpening with unnatural focus. "Better," Rodriguez confirmed, his voice tight with controlled power. "Much better." "Let's move," Maya ordered. "Central chamber. Stick to the mission." They left Vesh and Mord secured in a defensible position and continued deeper into the facility. The purple energy grew stronger, the walls pulsing more intensely around them. Maya felt her adrenaline response increasing proportionally, clarity becoming hyper-awareness, strength becoming something beyond human capability. She fought to maintain control, focusing on her anchor memories as they had practiced. But it was becoming harder to separate rational thought from primal instinct. The others showed similar signs of struggle, movements too quick, reactions too aggressive. Finally, they reached what appeared to be the central chamber. A massive door blocked their path, inscribed with symbols none of them recognized. "Breaching charges," Maya instructed. Nkosi moved forward with the explosives, his hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his system. The door blew inward with a thunderous roar, and the team surged through the opening, weapons ready. What they found inside stopped them cold. The chamber was vast, its ceiling lost in shadow above. At its center stood a structure that defied easy description, a crystalline formation that pulsed with purple energy, sending waves of psychic force outward in rhythmic beats. Around it, dozens of Zetra moved in perfect synchronization, their elongated limbs weaving complex patterns in the air. But what truly shocked Maya was what lay beyond the crystal, row upon row of transparent containers, each holding what appeared to be a human body. "What the hell?" Rodriguez breathed. Before Maya could respond, the Zetra noticed their presence. As one, they turned toward the intruders, their featureless faces revealing nothing of their intentions. The purple energy intensified, focusing directly on the human team. Maya felt her adrenaline response spike to unprecedented levels. The world sharpened to painful clarity, every detail etched in her consciousness with unnatural precision. Beside her, Rodriguez lost control first. With an inhuman roar, he charged into the chamber, firing wildly at the nearest Zetra. The alien fell, but three more converged on the soldier, their movements too fast to follow. "Maintain formation!" Maya shouted, but the command felt distant, detached from the burning need to engage that was building inside her. "Nkosi, cover the left flank!" The team advanced into the chamber, weapons blazing. The Zetra moved to intercept, their bodies flowing like liquid around the human's fire. Maya found herself moving with similar fluidity, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to anticipate and counter the aliens' movements. But as the battle intensified, she felt her control slipping. The red haze she had experienced before was returning, clouding her tactical judgment. Each Zetra she encountered became not an enemy combatant, but a threat to be annihilated with extreme prejudice. Dimly, she was aware of her teammates experiencing similar transformations. Rodriguez fought like a berserker, his strength and speed magnified by the synthetic adrenaline to terrifying levels. Nkosi moved with lethal precision, each shot finding its mark with inhuman accuracy. Corporal Chen had abandoned his rifle entirely, engaging the Zetra in close combat with devastating effectiveness. Only Hana seemed to be maintaining some semblance of control, though her movements too had taken on an unnatural quality. "Maya!" Hana's voice cut through the combat haze. "The containers! Look at them!" Despite the overwhelming urge to continue fighting, Maya forced herself to focus on the transparent chambers beyond the crystal structure. What she had initially taken to be human bodies were something else entirely. Humanoid forms in various stages of development, from embryonic to fully formed. "They're growing them," Hana realized aloud. "Creating us?" The implication was staggering. Were these human clones? Hybrids? Something else entirely? Before Maya could process this revelation, a new wave of purple energy erupted from the crystal, more powerful than anything they had yet experienced. It struck her like a physical blow, driving her to her knees despite the adrenaline coursing through her system. Images flooded her mind. Earth, thousands of years ago. Strange vessels descending from the sky, beings that looked like Zytra, moving among primitive humans, genetic manipulation, evolutionary acceleration. She understood, suddenly, with horrifying clarity. The Zytra had been to Earth before. They had altered human DNA in the distant past, introducing the capacity for adrenaline production as a deliberate adaptation. But why? As if in answer to her unspoken question, a single Zytra stepped forward from the others. Unlike its companions, this one's movements seemed almost hesitant, lacking the fluid grace of its kind. It extended a slender hand toward Maya, palm upward in what seemed like a universal gesture of peace. Maya fought against the adrenaline rage, forcing herself to stop, to think. With trembling hands, she retrieved Dr. Lee's data chip and inserted it into her suit's communication system. "We come to recover." A synthetic voice translated the Zytra's telepathic communication. "Long. Experiment. Now. Complete." "What experiment?" Maya demanded, struggling to form coherent thoughts through the adrenaline haze. "What did you do to us?" "Made warriors against the true enemy." More images flooded her mind. A vast, ancient conflict spanning galaxies. The Zytra, once peaceful, forced to become warriors against a threat from beyond the galaxy's edge. Their physical forms unsuited for combat. They had sought to create the perfect biological weapon, a species that could generate its own combat enhancements when threatened. Humans. The Alliance, Maya realized aloud. They know. They've always known. The Zytra's telepathic voice confirmed. Alliance fears both creator and creation. Maya looked around at her team, at Rodriguez's savage fury, at Nkosi's cold precision, at Hana's desperate struggle for control. This was what they had been designed to be, perfect killing machines, their rational minds submerged beneath chemical rage when threatened. And the Alliance had manipulated them, pitting creator against creation in a war that served only to eliminate both threats at once. "The Nexus," Maya said, gesturing toward the crystal structure. "What is it?" "Connection. To. Ancestral. Memory. Call. To. Completion." The purple energy wasn't a weapon. It was a signal, activating dormant genetic programming that had been implanted in humanity's DNA millennia ago. The adrenaline was never meant to be a defense against the Zytra. It was a gift from them, the final stage of an experiment spanning thousands of years. Maya made her decision. Reaching into her suit's medical compartment, she removed Dr. Lee's neutralizing agent and injected it directly into her bloodstream. The effect was immediate. The adrenaline surge receded, clarity returning to her thoughts. "Hana," she called out, "use the neutralizer. We need to think clearly." Lieutenant Hana hesitated only briefly before following Maya's example. One by one, the human team brought themselves back from the edge of berserker rage, though Rodriguez required forcible injection when he proved unwilling to relinquish the power. With clear minds, they faced the reality of their situation. The Zytra weren't invaders. They were creators, returning to evaluate their long-term experiment. The humans were the weapons, designed to fight a war the Zytra couldn't win with their natural abilities. And the Alliance had used them all. "What now?" Hana asked, looking to Maya for direction. "Do we complete the mission? Destroy the Nexus?" Maya stared at the pulsing crystal, then at the developing human forms beyond it. Destroying the Nexus would sever humanity's connection to its creators, perhaps preventing the adrenaline response from being triggered again. It would satisfy the Alliance's objectives. But it would also destroy the truth, the evidence of humanity's origins and purpose. "No," Maya decided. "We're not following those orders." She activated her comm unit. "Captain Ronaldo, do you copy?" Static. Then Ronaldo's voice, tense with concern. "I copy, Lieutenant. Situation?" "Sir, we've reached the central chamber, but the mission parameters were based on false intelligence. The Zytra aren't the enemy. The Alliance has been manipulating us from the beginning." A long pause. "Explain." Maya outlined what they had discovered. The ancient connection between humans and Zytra. The true purpose of adrenaline. The Alliance's deception. When she finished, Ronaldo's response was measured but resolved. "Understood, Lieutenant. Hold position. I'm coming in." Within 20 minutes, Ronaldo had joined them in the central chamber, having navigated the facility with Maya's guidance. He surveyed the scene, the crystal nexus, the developing human forms, the Zytra who stood in passive observation, with the calculating eye of a veteran soldier. "If what you're saying is true," he said slowly, "then Earth's position in the Alliance is based on a lie. We were never partners, just weapons to be deployed." "Yes, sir," Maya confirmed. "And the Zytra were never invaders, just creators returning to check on their experiment." Ronaldo considered this. "The Alliance won't simply accept this explanation. They'll want the Nexus destroyed, the Zytra eliminated." "Then we don't give them that option," Maya said firmly. "We control the narrative. We bring this evidence back to Earth." "And start a war with the entire Galactic Alliance?" Ronaldo's tone was skeptical, but not dismissive. "If necessary," Maya replied. "But I think there's another way." She turned to the Zytra representative. "You created us for a purpose, to fight an enemy you couldn't defeat alone. Is that enemy still a threat?" The alien's telepathic response came through the translator. "Always. Waiting. Beyond the darkness." "Then perhaps we can forge a new alliance," Maya suggested. "Not based on deception, but on mutual necessity. Humans, Zytra, and any alliance species willing to face the truth, united against the real threat." Ronaldo nodded slowly, seeing the potential in this approach. "It's risky. Commander Vrex and Counselor Thelen won't simply let us leave with this information." "No," Maya agreed, "which is why we need to secure it first." She gestured to the Nexus. "Can this be moved, protected?" The Zytra representative made a gesture that might have been affirmation. "Nexus. Portable. Essence. Not location." "Then we take it with us," Maya decided. "Back to Earth. We present the evidence directly to our leadership, bypass the Alliance entirely." "And start an interstellar diplomatic crisis," Ronaldo added, though his tone suggested he wasn't opposed to the idea. "Better than continuing as unwitting weapons in someone else's war," Hana pointed out. The decision made. They worked quickly. The Zytra, seemingly relieved that their creations had chosen understanding over destruction, assisted in preparing a portable version of the Nexus, a crystalline shard that contained the essential connection to their ancestral memory. As they prepared to leave, Maya found herself face to face with the Zytra representative once more. "Why did you attack Alliance worlds?" she asked. "If you only came to check on your experiment, Why the hostility? The answer came not in words, but in images. Alliance forces firing first. Zytra ships responding in self-defense. A deliberate provocation, engineered to force a conflict that would bring humans and Zytra into direct contact. They wanted to see what would happen, Maya realized. They wanted to test if their weapon, us, would work against its creators. The Zytra confirmed. Test. Successful. Humans. Perfect. Weapons. No, Maya corrected firmly. Humans are more than weapons. We're sentient beings with free will. Whatever you designed us to be, we've evolved beyond that purpose. The alien seemed to consider this, its featureless face impossible to read. Finally, it communicated, evolution, unexpected, fascinating. As they departed the central chamber, Maya took one last look at the developing human forms in their transparent containers. Were they the next iteration of the experiment? A new type of human-Zytra hybrid? She couldn't be sure, and there was no time to investigate further. The team retraced their steps through the facility, retrieving the still unconscious Alliance operatives, Vesh and Mord, along the way. The ethical implications were complex. These individuals had been deceived by their leadership as well, but they couldn't be left behind. They reached the infiltration craft without incident, the Zytra making no move to stop them. As they prepared for launch, Maya felt a strange mixture of emotions: anger at the Alliance's manipulation, uncertainty about Earth's true place in the galaxy, and a peculiar sense of connection to the alien beings they were leaving behind. "Course, Captain?" the pilot asked, as they secured the Nexus shard and their unconscious passengers. Ronaldo looked to Maya, acknowledging her role in their new mission. "Set course for Earth, maximum speed, and disable all Alliance tracking systems." As the craft lifted off from the hostile surface of Eridani 7th, Maya stared out at the acid-scarred landscape. Somewhere below, the Zytra were watching, the creators observing their creation's first act of true independence. The adrenorazine still flowed in her veins, though at a much reduced level, thanks to the neutralizing agent. She could feel its potential, the power it offered in moments of crisis. But now she understood its true nature, not just a combat drug, but a connection to an ancient legacy, a reminder of humanity's engineered purpose. The question was, would humanity accept this truth? Or would they, like the Alliance, prefer the comforting lie that they were masters of their own evolution? "What happens when we reach Earth?" Hana asked, settling into the seat beside Maya. "We tell the truth," Maya replied simply. "All of it. And then we decide, as a species, what to do with it." "And the adrenorazine, the synthetic version the Alliance was developing?" Maya thought of the vials of purple liquid, the temptation they represented, power without the natural limitations, strength without the evolutionary safeguards. "We control it," she decided. "Study it, understand it, but we never let it control us." She met Hana's gaze steadily. "That's what makes us human, after all. Not the ability to produce combat drugs when threatened, but the wisdom to know when not to use them." As the craft accelerated away from Eridani the 7th, breaking through the acid clouds into the star-filled void beyond, Maya felt a strange sense of peace, despite the uncertain future awaiting them. Humanity had been created as weapons, but they had evolved into something more, beings capable of compassion, ethics, and choice. And that evolution, she suspected, was far from complete. The real test was just beginning.